Welcome, my name is Debbie and this is Pouring My Art Out for the Lord, and I have made a new little mini hymn book. So I started this series, I don't know, maybe a couple of years ago now, and I started with one of my favorite hymns at the time was Day by Day. I still love it. And so I made a little kit to make these little journals, and they're just a nice small size. They're about 4 by 5 3/4, and I have the words to the lyrics to all of the hymns in these books, and then I just have like bits and pieces and tucks and just fun little project, but they're really quick and easy. The whole kit is there for you. You could make one easily in a couple of hours probably, and then they're great to have on hand so that you can gift them to someone that needs a little bit of encouragement, someone that's struggling with something. They're just great to have on hand to give to someone to encourage their heart. There's lots of places I've stolen a lot of the little tags and stuff out of here and put them in something else, and I have to replenish here. But there's lots of places to write on here, so you can write little messages to whoever about the hymn, what it means to you, encouragement for whatever they're going through, lots of things like that. This one I added just some little note paper, and you can either write notes on that for the person or just give it to them like that, and then they can write their notes about, maybe process some of what they're going through. So I started with this one, and then I moved on to, I think this one was next, Great is Thy Faithfulness. This was my purple one. This was my pink one. So this is all pink. There's lots of neat pieces of ephemera and tags and pockets and all that kind of stuff in all of these. So this was my pink one, Great is Thy Faithfulness. Then I did, I think It Is Well With My Soul was next, so that was blue. And then again, the lyrics for all of these is in here. Lots of vintage looking ephemera. Super quick and easy to make. Then I made Nearer My God to Thee, I think was next. That was my yellow one. And this one feels like it's a little bit fatter. Must have put a few extra pages in this one. And sometimes I add a little bits of pieces of, these things in here. But most of this comes in the kits. So there's that one. And then I did Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. And I did not keep a version of that one. I have to make another one, so I have it in my stash. But that one was in a teal color. And here's my newest one. It's called In the Garden. It's the hymn In the Garden. And this one I just had kind of an eclectic color theme. It's wildflowers is the theme. So I have, kind of the different colors of wildflowers. There's teals and there's kind of a deep, what would you call that? Peachy color, I guess. There's greens, there's purples. This one there's lots of different colors in. And again, it's got all of the lyrics of the song. And I didn't, in the very beginning I didn't do this, but the last few I've started to include a story card of kind of the background of the hymn. I hope to eventually go back and add them to the beginning ones as well, but I haven't yet. So I just wanted to read you this because in the garden, if you're familiar with the words, this is the chorus, and he walks with me and he talks with me and he tells me I am his own. And the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. And it sounds like kind of a sentimental, emotional feeling that, we're walking in the garden with the Lord, and he's telling me that I belong to him, and we share joy as we tarry there, and no one has ever known this joy besides me. And I used to think that too, actually. This hymn was really special to my mom, and my mom passed away in 2021. It was during COVID, and it was a really special time the family was called in, but we weren't really allowed to. She didn't have a room because it was all full, so she was kind of in a bed, but not, in a normal room. And but they did allow my brother, my sister, and myself in, and we spent most of the time. My mom was not conscious, but we sang to her. We were there for 8 hours until she passed, and we sang probably at least half of that time. And we sang over and over again in the garden. And once in a while, she would just kind of, not quite come alert, but she would just sort of get a little grin on her face. And I'd like to think that she was listening to us as we were singing in the garden, and so many other of her favorite songs, that she passed with a smile on her face, because she remembered all of this, the beautiful words of these hymns that were so special to her all of her Christian life. So before I start breaking down, I'll read you this story here. So In the Garden was written in 1912 by Austin Miles, who was inspired after reading John 20, the account of Mary Magdalene's encounter with the risen Christ. Miles described seeing a vivid scene in his mind's eye, prompting him to write the hymn from Mary's perspective. It reflects the overwhelming joy she must have felt upon hearing Jesus speak her name after witnessing his death and burial. So I think that's a little bit different. If you know this hymn, I think that's a little bit different unless you've researched this way that you've probably thought of this hymn before. This is inspired by Mary Magdalene being the first one to see Christ after, she witnessed his death, and now she's seeing the risen Christ. Though often criticized as overly sentimental, the hymn becomes more meaningful when understood in its biblical context. While Scripture records only a brief conversation between Mary and Jesus, Miles imagines the emotional weight of that moment, a sudden transformation from grief to joy as if time stood still. The refrain's emphasis on lingering in Christ's presence is not literal, but symbolic of the deep communion believers can experience with him. Like Mary, believers today can walk and talk with Jesus and find assurance in his presence. The line "none other has ever known," though often misunderstood as self-focused, reflects the uniquely personal nature of Mary's experience. She was the first to see the risen Christ. So I thought that was really special to include. The hymns have so much meaning. When you make these books, you really slow down and pay attention to the words of the hymn. And I like to include, some of them have scriptures. I usually add some scriptures when I give them away as well. And, just to meditate on the words of Scripture and the words of these hymns is precious. So I'm going to show you what's included in this kit, in this new kit, and I'm going to just give you a really brief walkthrough. I'm going to speed up most of it as I construct this, and stay tuned. Here we go. So here are the pages in the kit. I cut this one in half already, but here's our cover. And here's a couple of pockets. These pockets you can use in their entirety, or you can split them up and make two little top tucks and a pocket at the bottom. There's some little tabs, and here's the chorus, so you can cut that up and put that however you want on your book. This I didn't print on the back because I'm mounting it on the envelope. Then I have the journal pages. So there's 5 journal pages. So there's 20 actual pages in total, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 on each page, and there's 5 of these pages. So of course you just cut out these two together, fold them in half, and or you can do it a different way, but that's how I made it. All of these have scripture in the background. The text of this Bible in the background is taken from this Bible. It's called the New Illuminated Holy Bible. translated out of the original tongues and with the former translations diligently compared and revised. Conforms to that of the Oxford Bible. It was published in 1897. I'm not using this as a study Bible, it's just a background, but I like to have, you know, something solid in the background. So I just thought I would share that little bit with you there. So I just took it from various places. This is from Isaiah, the first book of the Kings. Some of the pages have really heavy illustrations, which I thought competed with the wildflowers. So I had some with, you know, just a little bit different illustrations, but not too overpowering, I guess. I just love how it looks in the background with the wildflowers. So there's 20 pages of that, 20 pages like that, so 5 of 4. And then I have 5 backing pages. So I have this one, which is a ledger with some music paper and a little bit of pattern in the background, different kinds of pattern, I guess. Even my background pages are several layers. So I just kind of layer and layer and layer until I like what it looks like. And so there's that one. This one is a map. This one, some crackling there. I love that crackling and the coffee stains there. And this one. So those are the backing pages. Then I have 2 pages of, in all these hymn books, I give you some solid colors. And because these are small journals, instead of giving you a whole page of each one of these, I think it's, for me, it's more useful to have 4 on one page. I can make, you know, 2 or 3 pockets with one of these rectangles, I guess. And then I'm not, you know, wasting ink and having, you know, a whole page of this, you know, 8 pages to get all of the colors, and then, you know, having lots of scraps left over. I really like no waste paper crafting, I guess. That's always in the back of my mind. I always want as little waste as possible. So you'll see that in my projects all over the place. So there's some solids you can use for pockets, tucks, belly bands, whatever you like. I did not print on the back of those because it's not necessary. Then I have our actual hymn. So I have the 3 verses plus the chorus there. These ones I usually glue right into the book instead of tuck into a pocket, just so that they stay in the right order and I don't lose one, because it's kind of the integral part of the hymn book. Plus a lot of these ones I gift, so I want, you know, I want the hymn itself to stay there. If they lose a piece of ephemera, it's fine, but if they lose a piece of this, it's, you know, that's the point of the hymn, being the hymn journal. So, and then I found just some old ephemera from the In the Garden. This is from 1913 in the public domain. This says 25 cents on it. There is no year on that, but it's old. And this one says copyright 1917. I did age. I took the images and then I put them on different backgrounds and aged it with my aging tools and stuff like that too. They didn't actually come exactly like that. This one I didn't age as much, obviously, and kind of straightened that one out. And then here's the story that I read to you at the beginning of this video about what the hymn, where the hymn came from, and how the author was inspired to write it. And then we have some tags. So here's one page of tags. These are just a little bit plainer tags, so you can add little bits and pieces on top of them or just leave them as is. And I used one of the backings. There's the map back for that one. Then here's some more tags. These ones are a little bit smaller. And these are not the same wildflowers, and they're not the same Bible background, but I just thought it would be a little bit of a variation. They're very similar. And then I put some of this wordfetti there. I've been working with some of Diane Mara's kits from Faith Art Design Studio, and she always puts this Faith Art wordfetti into her kits, and I thought that was a brilliant idea, so I was inspired by her idea, so I copied that idea. Not copied the words and the whatever, but I did copy the idea from her, so thanks Diane for that. So those can be put on the tags or the pages, you know, wherever you want. You can use them as one piece for a pocket. You can cut them apart, whatever you want. And then I have 3 pieces of ephemera, which is what I usually do in these kits now. All kinds of different things. Hopefully they all have a little bit of meaning in the hymn. You know, have a bird in the garden, and then the clock, you know, kind of reminiscent of the time that Mary spent with Jesus in the garden, how it was so brief. Butterfly in the garden. Then I've got some flowers with the garden theme there and there. Here's a ticket in the garden, good for one small visit with Jesus. Cut some flowers. Here's a 45 or 33 record, whatever it is, of the song. And then I backed that one as well. Here's another page, garden party. He walks and talks with me in the garden. This is the same ticket, a little bit smaller, but different words. Reflect with the watering can, Terry. There's some gardening tools, a flower, beautiful flower. Just love this, encounter, experience, consider, on a background of vegetables. Here's a flower button, kind of a maybe a coppery patina, aged patina there. A cross over some watercolor swatches. I come to the garden alone, encounter in the garden. This is from an old Bible book as well that I recolored, and I just captured that one little piece, but it's got the gospel there, so that's kind of a neat piece. Another butterfly, and then I got a bird cage, another garden with some frogs here. Here's a garden pot with some ferns, library card with a flower. Here's some Russian thistle on a background with peace on it. Keep moving forward with the butterflies. All of these are like layers. You know, like this piece, there's probably about 10 layers that I pieced from here to there and made some of them myself and put them together. It's not just something that's out there. Blessing with the butterfly, heart with the Bible, and glasses, 79 cents. And beyond the horizon, I put a little butterfly on her back. It kind of looks like wings, but I just wanted it to be a big butterfly landing on her back. And she's tending the flowers. And there's the background for that. So that's the kit. So I'm just going to take a few minutes and cut everything out. And I'll be right back to show you a little bit how I put it together. I'm not going to do a full tutorial page by page because I've done that before with these hymn kits, and but I'll do kind of the basics, and I'll speed through some of the other parts so you'll see the basic construction on how to put it together. So here we go. All right, I got a pile of stuff cut out and inked a little bit, and I'm ready to go. These are a couple of my other mini hymn journals. This is Great is Thy Faithfulness. This is It Is Well With My Soul. And all of my kits that I've made so far, I've used an envelope as the cover base. I really like it. I happen to always have the right color, it seems like, of an envelope base. You know, you get birthday cards or whatever. And so I have a pink one there. I have a blue one there. It's just a little bit larger than the papers. It gives a nice sturdy cover, and it just works really well. This one I stitched around. This one I did not. So either or. So this time I had a yellow one, and it's got my name on it. It was probably a birthday card. I sealed the flap there. These ones I did not put a spine on, but I thought I would put just a little bit of a spine. It's just a 1/4 of an inch spine in the middle there, because this one has a few more pages and it's probably going to get a little bit chunkier. So then I just took my cover piece and I cut it in half, and I'm just going to glue those 2 pieces just like that. All right, and then on the inside, I just had an extra one. And this is actually when I was playing around with my digitals here. So these ones are a little bit smaller than, a little bit narrower than my pages. My final pages are here. So I thought I would use these for the inside cover. So I'm going to put these right close to the spine, just, you know, a little bit of a ways away like that. And then I'm going to put a pocket on either side there so that that kind of covers the rest of that yellow. Okay, so that is all done. I have two little side pockets there, and there's the cover. So the next thing I want to do is put my pages in. So I have given you 20, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 10 times, really, this is 1 page out of 10, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, so there's like 40 pages that will be put into this book, so that's lots. So I'm just going to kind of rearrange these how I like them. I'm just going to use one signature. I might, you know, kind of alternate having a kind of a plain page and a decorative page like this. They all match, so it doesn't really matter how exactly you put them together. And then I'm just going to stitch them in. I've shown you many times how to stitch in a signature, and if you're not, if you're just new and you're just watching this, look at my Junk Journal 101 playlist. I'll link that below, and that will show how to sew in a basic signature. I'll be right back when that's done. All right, my signature is sewn in. It wasn't too difficult. So the next thing I want to do is I want to grab my lyric cards here, and I'm just going to put them in order here. So verse 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to do the chorus last. And I just want to spread them throughout the book, but I want to make them into a pocket or something so that they don't have a chance of getting lost or falling out. So I'm just going to arbitrarily turn 2 pages, and right here I'm going to put the first verse card. So I'm going to kind of tuck it over to this side so that I can use this as a little pocket here, or I could put a pocket at the top. There's not a whole lot of room there for putting something in if I do that, so I think I'll just do it opening to the outside of the book. Should shift up a little bit here. Okay, so I'm just going to put that one up here. There's my first pocket. Okay, and then I'm going to go 2 pages from the back. You could do this however you like. And I'm going to put my chorus back there. So there's my 4 verses. Then I'm just going to go through and put pockets wherever I like, and probably I'm going to mostly make pockets on, well, probably not exactly. Let me see here. You know, these will be really, they're going to cover up. The flowers are kind of coming from the bottom on a lot of these pages, so I mean, like here, that would be fine. Yeah, that would be fine because it looks like they're coming out. So I just took 3 of the solid pages, and I just sort of cut them up. So this one I cut up probably a couple of pockets and maybe a side horizontal belly band for there. This one I did, this would be maybe a belly band going this way, and then this could be another side tuck pocket. This one I did one pocket like this, and then I did two pockets slanted, so I can put those however I want. This one I kind of wanted the frogs to show, so I might just do like a little layering or something like that. So that one has the frogs showing. They don't all have to be pockets, they could be layering, whatever. And then I've got this In the Garden piece of ephemera. That would be a lovely pocket. This one would be a good pocket as well. Here's our story card, so of course that would be a good pocket, or that could just be glued straight on, or it could be a top tuck. These ones can be pockets or layering or whatever as well. You could do a top tuck with those ones. So lots of different things. Here's the little strip that got cut off of the two pockets on the side there. So that's my next step. I'm just gonna grab some of the bigger pieces. Most of these are tags and things. Some of them can be, you know, this could be a tuck or just a plain embellishment just glued right on there. So there's another one that could be a cute little pocket. So I'm just gonna quickly go through here. I'll speed this up really fast and you can just see my process of, I'm just gonna kind of go through back and forth until I get all my pockets in. There, first round of pockets are all in. I might add a couple extra things as I go. Right at the very center here is where I put this kind of funny little pocket. And I thought I would see if the story fits in there. Let's see. Might be a little tight. That's not going to work. I could stick it like that. But then I've got, mind you, I could put a couple little just random little cards there or something, and then this on top. I don't like how that sits without having something. It needs to be taller and skinny like that a little bit more, or this would make work well. Yeah, that one works well. So it holds it there and it holds it there a little bit as well. And then that could just, I don't like that particular color there. But now I'm just going to go through and I'm just going to add little pieces again here and there, stick some tags in, and yeah, just play a little bit. So I'll fast forward again. so I got pretty much all the pockets in, lots of the inserts in, most of the inserts in. You saw me do all of that fast forwarding. So now I just have to put in kind of the finishing touches. I have all these little tabs that I want to put on. And then I have all of these words, and I think I'm going to cut these words apart because I like to have words here and there throughout the whole thing. So I think I'm going to cut those words apart. I'm going to cut these words apart, and I'll put these tabs on, and I'll probably put a few strings in some of the tags. And I think that might kind of be it. I might put something on here yet. I think I'll put a piece of lace or something there. But let me just get this all cut out and ready to go, and then I'll show you how I finish it up. Okay, so I finished it up. For now, anyways, I may add a couple more things, I don't know. So I put a bit of lace on the spine, and I put a little charm here, a rose charm, and a Jesus symbol, and a couple of little seed beads on that bulb pin. So I just mainly put, I cut apart all of those words and put those on there. Some of them I used a little bit of lace. I actually punched holes, and then I put some ribbon in them, in these tags, and I didn't like it, and I ended up taking it all out. It just felt like it was too much for this little book somehow. I just didn't like it, but you might be able to have better luck if you want to do that. So here's our verse 1, a little bit of lace and stuff there. Just, you've seen all of this. Just added little bits and pieces just to decorate. The tabs are there. So there's still, you know, quite a bit of room to write on. There's all of the tags you can write on the backs of the tags. And some of the pages I didn't, a lot of them I covered like this, but there is some that are, you know, able to, you can write on there. But there's lots of, you know, on the back of the postcard, there's lots of places still to write. You can write on there. So, you know, my vision for these is to, you know, to make several of them. And then as you're, you know, going through your ministry, going through your life, give them out to people who you know will be encouraged by a word, you know, a word from God, a word from, you know, one of the ancient hymns. This is a well-loved hymn by many, so I think it would be a wonderful little gift for someone, and make one for yourself as well. I have at least one of these in my collection of each of the versions that I have. I've given away a few as well. But yeah, so there's my finished in the garden. So thank you so much for watching. Blessings, and we'll see you next time.